Today we're driving the new 2024 McLaren 750S. This is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that makes 740 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. That's made it to a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. This thing is absolutely stunning. Painted in Tanzanite blue, I think it looks fantastic. Of course, as many of you already know, the 750S is an evolution of the 720S, which we drove on street and on track a couple years ago. Really fun car, honestly, one of my favorite supercars to drive. Just so exciting, so dynamic, really good steering feel, amazing powertrain. The 750S aims to improve on virtually every aspect of the 720S. They've lightened this, it's more powerful, they've retuned the suspension. We have some really nice livability features, a nose lift that raises in 4 seconds now, some different interior ergonomics. Anyway, we're gonna talk all about the 750S in this video. Let's walk you around it, we'll start it up, and then we'll go for a drive. We're also gonna be driving this on track today. We're out here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I absolutely love the drama of getting into this 750S. The way the door rises up, the startup sound. We've already got a little bit of temperature into the engine. All right, so immediately, this is a pretty familiar looking interior, but there are some small changes between this and the 720S. We have a new infotainment system that has Apple CarPlay standard now. Finally, an infotainment in a supercar that actually works. We've got this vertical screen, this aluminum button right down here that you can kind of toggle between screens with. You can select CarPlay, it connects fast, seamlessly, very easy to use. It looks nice, that's good. Climate control right here. You can see this is all very responsive. We've got brightness controls right here if you swipe down from the top. And then we have a speedy Kiwi button here, which we can basically use to save our favorite drive mode settings. So this is set for sport powertrain, sport chassis, aero, puts the wing up in the back. We can change that, adjust that. Basically, you just set your settings, hold the Kiwi button, and it'll enable everything. And that's pretty neat. Also, to the left here, we have a dedicated button for the front nose lift. And again, it lifts just like that. It's so fast. It's fantastic. That system is built into the hydraulic suspension of the 750S. They've revised the hardware so that happens a little bit quicker, and as well as suspension tuning, a little bit stiffer in the rear and a little bit softer in the front, along with a wider front track in the 750S. Down here, we've got a little bit of storage space, and today we are driving the Spider, which means we can roll down this rear window and listen to this car at full bore. Hopefully you guys are wearing headphones for this video because this is gonna sound absolutely fantastic. We also have a revised exhaust, which, again, I've only driven this car about 50 feet so far. You're gonna get some first driving impressions early on in this video, but this exhaust sounds a lot better than the 720S does. Full carbon fiber monocoque chassis. Very minimal weight difference between this Spider and the coupe. About 3170 wet weight, full curb weight in this 750S Spider. About 62 pounds for the coupe, I believe. So a little bit over 3,000 pounds. Dry weight on this is 2815 for the coupe, which is what my BRZ weighs. But this has 3.5 times the horsepower. Absolutely nuts. So that's kind of a quick interior walk around. Amazing seats, lots of control down here. All of your seat buttons are kind of hidden down below, but once you kind of feel them out, they're nicely separated, differentiated. We've got paddle shifters behind the wheel, which we can control from one side or the other side. They kind of are connected, which is pretty neat. Front frunk, which actually has quite a bit of room. Let's pop that. Let's walk around the exterior of this just a little bit more before we set off. Bowers & Wilkins sound system too. I am so excited to drive this. Bigger wing, more downforce. Just think more of everything, better everything, less weight. It all translates to a really special driving experience. This front trunk just lifts up. You don't need to pull a latch or anything. Fire extinguisher, lots of room. This could fit a lot of stuff in this. It's actually pretty spacious. Just push down on the badge and lock it shut. They've painted some bits. We still have the eye socket headlamps here, which look really special, really aggressive. these extraction vents in the front wheel well and in the back. Improved aero for high-speed stability, all that stuff. More cooling in the rear, more vents, more opening areas here. The Spider has these buttresses, but you'll notice that you can see through them. They are transparent, and that helps a little bit with visibility. Just a stunning car inside and out. We also have this electrochromic roof, which we can change right here. So give us all the light, or it'll dim things down a little bit. Very trick, very clever, very cool. All right, let's go for a drive. Before we do, let's mention our sponsor for this video. Shout out to Lewis Jewelers for hooking us up this week. We are wearing a TAG Heuer Carrera glass box. This is kind of the hot new watch from TAG Heuer. This is in blue. It also comes with a reverse panda dial. It is absolutely stunning. It's got a deployment clasp here that has kind of infinite adjustment. You basically just push this piece back and you can adjust it on the leather strap. Only con is it does kind of mark up the strap just a little bit, but it's very comfortable to wear. We have a display back case with a bespoke TAG Heuer movement, automatic of course, easy to wind up and recharge. This is a chronograph, so we've got our tachymeter, our 12-hour timer, 30-minute timer, date down here. Beautiful finishing, 39 millimeters lug to lug, so it just kind of wears just about right. I have a smaller wrist and it just looks perfect on my hand. I've really enjoyed wearing it the last couple days. Go check out Lewis Jewelers at lewisjewelers.com. I'll throw a link in the description. Hit up DK, like Drift King, but he's not the Drift King. He sells watches and he's a super cool guy. Tell him TheTopher sent you and he will hook you guys up. Yeah, kind of a perfect pairing with this watch, the blue and the Tanzanite blue today. Didn't plan that, but it just kind of worked out really well. And of course, McLaren is a racing team that makes street cars, and TAG Heuer has always been a watch company that has been very involved in racing and timing. So it's great to kind of combine the racing heritage between watch and car in today's video. Excited about the sponsorship, excited to share some more watches with you guys as we kind of continue on in the next months. Let's go drive the 750S and see how it does on the road. So all we do down here, just put it in drive. We're gonna turn off, stop, start. I think we're good to go. Let's go. Light dab of throttle and we're off. The first thing you notice driving this car is just the incredible visibility. And the new ergonomics are actually very, very nice in this interior. I actually really like this layout here, this toggles to control and adjust drive settings. So, like I mentioned earlier, you really don't have to take your hands off the wheel for any changes. We can control our powertrain here to the right and our suspension and chassis dynamics over here to the left. We can go into manual mode here by pressing this button in. And actually, before we set off, I do have to set my navigation. So we've got CarPlay connected. Let's see, let's go right here. Go into Google Maps, and we have a route. And I can't wait any longer. We have to roll down this rear window.
In 100 yards, turn left at checkered flag lane.
Those exhaust pops, they're not fabricated, they're natural, and they happen inconsistently and unpredictably, and that's, I think, what makes them so special on this car. right, so let's start off with some city driving impressions here. This has all the drama that we're used to in a McLaren. An exciting turbocharged engine, really good gearbox, very tack sharp, nice weight to the steering, very direct. Let's settle things down here just a little bit. We'll put this back into comfort mode. As a vehicle to live with and drive, it's very approachable. The front nose lift, I believe, works up to speeds of about 30 miles an hour or so. Same with the roof. It's a small car, it has a small footprint. You're very low, but you can see so well around you in just about every direction. Even those transparent buttresses give you really good view out of that rear three-quarters. There's virtually no blind spots in this. Something pretty unique with driving a supercar, where usually you just can't see out of it very well. That's not the case here with the 750S. Interior ergonomics are great. Turn signal is exactly where you'd expect it. No buttons on the steering wheel, just how it should be in a driver's car. All your buttons, all of your commonly used switchgear is within sight and within reach. Ride quality is excellent. There's something really unique about McLaren's hydraulic suspension. It just floats over everything. It's so supple. It's honestly some of the most comfortable suspension in any new car that I've driven, but it just so happens to be in a supercar. And it's so adjustable. You have such great control over it in track mode versus sport mode versus comfort. I'm leaving it in comfort right now, and it's just kind of massaging over every little bump and imperfection in the road. Automatic gearbox tuning is pretty good in comfort mode. Downshifts happen quickly. It does find its highest gear and a more fuel-efficient RPM to sit at pretty quickly, which is nice. Sport mode, you can give it a blip, and it'll hold the revs up a little bit longer. Gosh, because this is the Spider, we just have to keep that rear window down this whole video. You can hear a turbo whistle. We do have a shorter final drive, about 15% shorter than the 720S and the 750S, and that makes a big difference. Basically, you're just changing gears more often. That's a pretty significant reduction too. So you can enjoy this more at lower speeds, which is just great. Brake pedal tuning. That was a slight point of contention with the 720S. The pedal just didn't quite have that initial bite that I would have liked, and it was pretty firm. It was good pedal feel, but it took some calibration, some getting used to. Here in the 750S, it's a little bit better, and you can see that rear air brake pop up too under hard braking. All right, and because this is the Spider, we have to put the roof down. Operation is about 11 seconds, which is super fast. You can do this at speeds up to about, I think, 31 miles an hour or so. We're going to go into manual mode. We have sport powertrain, sport chassis. We can downshift right up to red line in the 750S now. Performance is just brutal. Brakes are absolutely amazing with the help of that aero brake. Wow. Very little wind buffeting in here as a convertible. And the exhaust sounds better. This is a more exotic sounding V8 now with this retuned and recalibrated exhaust. more Ferrari-like in a way. Gone is that high-pitched turbo whistle at full throttle. Front nose lift. What a car, what a car. You'll see that nose lift turn off at about 30 miles an hour. There it is, vehicle auto lowering. Let's see with the windows down. Quite a bit more wind intrusion into the cabin, but with the windows up, this is a very, very comfortable place to be. So much adjustment, so much control here over the driving experience. And of course, in a car like this, you're not even going to get it close to the limits on the street. You really have to take this out to a racetrack to enjoy it. But boy, is it exciting and fun to just give it those little bursts of throttle. Go back into manual mode here. There are 3 ESC settings: on, ESC kind of off / sport, traction control off, ESC still on. You can go in and enable the vehicle drift control. Do that on a racetrack, not on the street. And then you hold the button, full ESC off. We're gonna leave everything on out here today on the open roads. Those shifts in sport mode are absolutely brutal. Wonder what happens in track. Different gauge cluster layout here, more linear display. Mode, the gear changes are actually a little bit smoother, a little bit quicker. Sport mode is all about drama, settling things down here. Just a lovely convertible to drive. This is awesome. 65 miles an hour. The rear window is down. If I put that up, it does reduce wind intrusion just a little bit, but honestly, you could run with this down and it's just fine. All right, let's go roof up for this next section. Beautiful. And probably rear window down. Again, that is my favorite thing about the 750S Spider. You still need to be deliberate with these brakes. It does require a bit more pedal pressure than you're used to in most modern vehicles. But again, it's exciting. It makes you feel like you're in something special, something engaging. ironically, with this electrochromic roof and the rear window down, you almost get a bit of an open top experience without having to have the roof down completely. The car definitely sounds the best with just the rear window down. There isn't all that other wind noise and stuff going on. You can just listen to that exhaust. McLaren's figure out the aerodynamics of that, so it's just perfect. You just get sound and a little bit of extra environmental noise, at speed at least. Love the feel of these paddle shifters. They're not too sharp. They don't feel like they're going to cut your hands. They're carbon fiber. They're nice to the touch. And they've got a pretty wide area here so that even if you've got some steering angle on, you can still know exactly where they are. Reach them at a moment's notice. And I just love that you can upshift and downshift with one hand on the wheel. Something I'd like to see some other manufacturers employ too. Basically, everything in the 750S is so well thought out. The ergonomics here are just so impressive for a supercar. You're always kind of used to having some concessions and having some ergonomic weirdness in a car like this. But McLaren has done away with pretty much everything that I had issues with on the 720S. They've addressed it. They've solved it. They've figured out what needs to be where in this interior, in this cabin. The only con is don't quite have Android Auto yet for this infotainment system. CarPlay is standard though. All of your information is displayed clearly. It's all just right there in front of you. You can toggle through tire pressures, various vehicle settings, oil status, telemetry, fuel economy here, remaining mileage. I believe this has a 19-gallon fuel tank, which is pretty good for range. This is rated for 15 miles to the gallon in the city, 19 on the highway. Do I have any complaints? Well, for how comfortable and livable and nice to drive this car is, these seats aren't the most supportive. I've kind of got a weird lumbar situation. I've tried adjusting it down here, but can't really find a position that I'm ultra comfortable in. And this does come standard with carbon bucket seats, which save weight and get the curb weight down on this. But these electronically adjustable seats may not be the most comfortable option. There's a couple different seating options for the McLaren 750S, so I would kind of look into that. Maybe sit in a car, see what you prefer the best, and which offers the best support for your body size and type. I'm 5'10", about 150 pounds. I guess you could complain about price. This is not cheap. Starting price on the Spider is around $340,000, and you're probably looking at closer to 400 grand with some options and a bespoke spec to your tastes and preferences. Also, I think something worth mentioning is there's a cool factor with McLaren. There always has been. It doesn't have some of the negative connotations that you get with Ferrari, for example, or maybe even Lamborghini at times. Yes, maybe we don't have the same screaming V10 sound that we have from the Lamborghini Huracan or some of the other performance cars that have more exciting sounding engines, but I would say this sounds as good as a Ferrari motor. It has the performance to back it up. It's lighter weight. It's really engaging. It's really satisfying to drive. Let's do a quick sound system test while we're just cruising here. Sound system's quite good. A lot of bass, pretty clear. Nice little bonus there from McLaren and Bowers and Wilkins. Let's take this out on the track. Let's see how it performs at some higher speeds, higher G-forces. I really want to be able to test the handling out in this new 750S. I think the suspension changes here and the aero changes will really translate to an improved driving experience. So let's go out to the track here and see how this performs.
So inside the car, it was pretty loud, almost a little bit too loud to talk. Also, I was concentrating a lot. It's the end of the day, I'm tired, and was left a little speechless just trying to remember the track. So let's give you guys some driving impressions on the 750S on the track. Number one, these Trofeo R tires, they do take a little bit to warm up, but once you get some heat in them, they feel fantastic. Braking performance, these larger carbon ceramic brakes, this track pack, is just, these are absolutely insane. Paired with the aero, the air brake in the rear, really, really good performance on track. The faster steering, you really feel it. You have to kind of be a little bit more reserved with your turn-in and really kind of play with that front end. There's so much front end grip on turn-in that you can easily upset the car with too much input initially. A little bit of understeer on throttle, which is typical for any mid-engine car. I can see why they widened that front track just to give us a little bit more grip and traction. This particular car has a what looks like an MSO roll cage. That's pretty cool. So we've got harnesses. These are the standard racing bucket carbon seats. You can remove this back piece here if you want for extra clearance for your helmet. That was actually very comfortable, and I just threw this behind me in my lumbar, and I was actually very comfortable on track, had a good driving position, didn't feel like my head was too forward. Very supportive seat, and I'm 5'10", about 150 pounds. These fit me pretty well. Driving position adjustment, steering wheel tilt telescoping worked really well for track driving. I think that's about, oh, soft closed doors too. I think that's about all I've got to say. Wasn't too pleased with my driving performance out here. Wanted to slide around a little bit more, but just wasn't comfortable enough out here in 7 laps or so to do so. But maybe we'll get some more time in this on a more familiar track in the future and give you guys some more driving impressions then. So anyway, back to the street. We'll wrap up some thoughts on the 750S, and we'll see you guys here soon.
All right, so some final thoughts on the McLaren 750S. This thing is an absolute weapon. It is so fast, it is so capable, so direct, so sharp. The extra refinements here in the 750S versus the 720S are noticeable immediately from a performance perspective. This feels like it has hypercar performance from maybe just a few years ago, but it's in a non-hybrid package. It's lightweight. It's exciting. It's dramatic. But it's also very refined in a very cohesive package. You could tell McLaren was very deliberate and thoughtful about all the changes that they made with the 750S. From the interior ergonomics to the improved infotainment to the visual modifications. It's an evolution, but it's a very, very good evolution. I think it kind of results in a revolutionary supercar that finally feels like it belongs in the modern era from a tech perspective, but it kind of sneaks in before electrification takes over everything. It was absolutely incredible to experience on track. The straight line performance here is amazing. The cornering performance is amazing. All the little tiny incremental changes that McLaren did here have really added up into something truly special. So I think we're going to wrap up there. That'll be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. What a vehicle, what a day spent behind the wheel of this as we drive through the Valley of Fire. It's been a lot of fun getting the opportunity to share this car with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the drive. Thanks to McLaren for having me out here this week. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. So a couple more details while we're stopped off here on the side of the road. Here's with the front nose lift engaged. Gives you quite a bit of extra ground clearance and approach angle, which is nice. Also a bit of a more detailed look at the wheels, carbon ceramic brakes, 245/35 R19s in the front. These are the Pirelli P0 Corsas, and 305/30 R20s in the rear. A staggered setup. Of course, carbon ceramics. Massive rear wing / air brake. Larger induction ports here for improved cooling. This is just a beautiful piece of body work here. And of course the flying buttresses. So many great little details. I love this vent just above the fender. Even down to the carbon fiber weave going in both directions, split down the middle. Forward-facing camera there. Effortless operation there, opening the door. Orange seat belts are proper. See the carbon fiber exposed right there. All very, very special. Watch how fast CarPlay connects too. It's almost instant. There you are. Pretty bumpy section of road here. Super comfortable. This hydraulic suspension from McLaren is just magic. It's so well calibrated, so well tuned. Everything about this car, very refined. You can see that McLaren has really had an opportunity to evolve and mature with their road cars.
And the 750S is the first example of that I've driven. I haven't driven the new Artura yet, but I'm really impressed with what they've been able to do and how they've been able to evolve the 720S into the 750. It's just been awesome. Awesome to experience today. That doesn't sound proper supercar. I don't know what does. I think the Spider is the way to go with the new 750S. It is just so exciting. There's your reverse camera. Neutral, parking brake, you're all set.